The impact of Hurricane Nicole along Volusia County shoreline was nothing short of devastating. We have had multiple single-family houses fall into the ocean. We've had multiple condominiums and hotels evacuating out of fear of collapse. You've seen tears, you've seen heartbreak, and our beach has truly changed. The beach is honestly not safe right now. With so many structures that have lost the soil beneath their structure and the compromised seawalls, we are truly scared that someone might be injured inadvertently by being in close proximity to these structures. There is a sense of urgency. We may be nearing the end of hurricane season, but we are not out of dangerous path. Volusia County is known for nor'easters during the off-season. Those will typically hit in, our worst ones are January, February, and March along our high tides with the full moons. And those can cause just as much damage as a hurricane. So there's definitely an urgency. We urge every oceanfront property owner that has experienced any sort of structural impacts to either their dune or to their existing seawall to go in and talk to our permitting officials and get both a temporary solution in place and a permanent solution in place as soon as possible to protect the integrity of their structures. We have closed everything off to prevent you from injuring yourself. If the parks are closed, do not come to the parks. We are providing access when and where available, but the reality is that there's still debris on the beach. There are boards washing up with nails sticking out of them. We found random rebar sticking out of the beach the other day. I really urge you not to come to the beach until we let you know it's safe. When we have our assets secured and we can make beach access possible, we will advertise this broadly and widely through social media, press releases, the news. We'll get the word out there, but right now it's just not safe to come to the beach. We had a big, beautiful sand berm this summer that everybody was, concerned about beach driving. That sand berm is completely gone right now. At low tide, you're getting maybe an hour, maybe two if you're lucky, where you can actually put a vehicle on the sand right now. We do not have the beach that you remember from this summer. There is very little, if any, place to even lay out on the sand right now. Hurricane Nicole came through and it basically just took our damages and compounded them. Where I might have had a small little cave-in on a ramp, the entire ramp is now gone. Now is not the time to come to the beach because our damages are so severe. Right now we have an estimated combined $30 million of ocean-related damages to Volusia County's infrastructure. So in Hurricane Ian, Volusia County's coastal damages equated to about $15.5 million. Combined for Ian and Nicole, we are up to over $30 million in damages. So right now in-house, we are working on, we've completed our assessments of our asset damage. We are now going through and we are opening what we can as quickly as we can to try and provide some sort of access back to our beach. In the long term, we are organizing our engineers. We're trying to find creative procurement methods so that we can get the repairs completed quickly. We do not want to wait 3 years to get things repaired. That is not in our interest. It's not in our public's interest. We are communicating with FEMA, the Department of Environmental Protection, the Department of Environmental Management, and your local, state, and federal elected representatives almost daily. We are trying to bring all the resources possible to Volusia County. We are chasing all avenues. We are chasing proprietary solutions. We are chasing sand placement. We are chasing FEMA berms. We are chasing long-term feasibility projects and studies to try and prevent this from happening in the future. We are taking steps in the very immediate today to open walkovers for you. We are taking steps in the next 50 years to make sure you still have an oceanfront. We are working with our state and federal partners, along with our state and federal elected representatives, to get in place a plan to set Volusia up for a resilient 50 years.
Well, right now what we're seeing from a permitting perspective, we've concentrated our staff at 440 South Beach Street so that way our environmental management and building permit staff can be there and work alongside our friends from DEP to help expedite those permits that can be issued right there on the spot or help get those that may take additional time. And our primary goal right now is to get in, help out the residents, and get these permits that are necessary for them to rebuild and protect their property. If a resident has experienced damage to their property along the coast, they need to first and foremost contact an engineer or architect who has experience with permitting along the coast. That means working with DEP and coastal communities. This is principle in that what we are facing is that many of these things require plans that require compliance with state laws and local regulations, and unfortunately the complexities of those require a professional engineer or professional architect. Also make sure that you're utilizing a licensed contractor who is experienced with building along the coast. Those will help really expedite anything that you're trying to get done in the best manner possible. If you have a group of property owners within the same block, see if you can use the same engineer so that way there's not going to be individual permits and that it can be tacked on as one group effort. We think that will be very beneficial to our residents. Also, talk with the county staff and DEP staff. We are housed at 440 South Beach Street in Daytona Beach, and we will be able to provide you with insight on temporary measures that can help you shore up your property until more long-term lasting effects can be done. How long will it take us to put out some of these permits? Some of these can be issued within the same day. If it's for temporary measures such as putting on beach compatible sand or sandbags under 100 pounds, or some of the sheet pile that meet the emergency order issued by the DEP, we could potentially get those out that same day. Anything that's outside of our local county's ability to permit will require coordination with DEP. Our residents can help expedite the process by working with professionals in this particular situation. I know it's frustrating, I know you want to take care of things, and you see this immediate need right there. But working with a design professional who understands coastal permitting will help expedite everything that we need to see done. In the state of Florida, anything that is basically along the beach is the domain of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection for permitting. They look primarily at how are you constructing to ensure that the structure would withstand a storm, but also is environmentally sound. In other words, will allow for such endangered species as the sea turtle can still maintain their habitat as well. So in times of emergency, what DEP will do is they will put out an emergency order which allows local governments such as Volusia County to take on some of that permitting responsibility because we have such a direct accessibility to the residents. The majority of these are for temporary measures. As I said earlier, it's primarily placement of sand, use of sandbags under 100 pounds, and installation of temporary sheet piles. What that does is it provides an initial break so that way some of the impacts from the oncoming waves can be dissipated. It's not a long-term solution. We understand that the majority of these things have to be removed within 60 days of installation, but it gives the resident time to work with DEP for more permanent resolution to their concerns. What can we say to the folks that are experiencing this damage? Well, first of all, we understand and we're trying to do the best we can to get these things out as quickly as possible. This is not an easy solution, and we're looking every day to work with our colleagues at DEP and the Department of Emergency Management to come up with ways that we can assure that the work's being done in a manner that's going to protect them, provide them with the security that they expect, and still meet the state requirements as well as our local ordinances. So please have patience. We are working towards a solution, and we promise you we are trying to do everything we can to get these permits out for you. Is there any assistance available for the people who've been impacted? Right now, we're still waiting for federal government to come in and declare that Nicole has been a disaster and that they can activate the FEMA Development Disaster Recovery Center. Right now, we're waiting for that information. Once that is declared by the federal government, we'll know better what can be done at that point. There is still availability for assistance for those who were impacted by Hurricane Ian, and that is available at the Disaster Recovery Center.